Welcome to today's Farm Life. I'm Doug Cunningham. Today we're going to talk about old machinery. Had a chance to sit down and talk with Austin Miiller, a man that is passionate about old machinery. More specifically, he's passionate about his great-grandfather's tractor and how that one tractor transformed their entire family farm, took it from the days of horse and buggy to the modern machinery age. I think you'll like this story.
Yeah, this is a 1936 International F20, or a Farmall F20. This was great-grandpa's first. This was what he bought to replace his team of horses. This specific model is what International pretty much set them in the, really set them into motion as the setting the standard, because this row crop setup, the tall wide rear tires and the narrow front, the actual first tractor to carry this design for International Harvester was their Farmall Regular, which they made in 1924 to 1932. And then from 32 to 39, they made the F20 and the F30. But this was their bread and butter tractor. This is your Farmall. The name come up with it. You have a belt pulley. You got the PTO. You could put cultivators on it. You could use your horse equipment with it. So in the morning, you get up, you feed your cattle, do your chores, and you go out in the field. You can take off your loader, put on cultivators or something, and go and cultivate corn all day, or do that kind of stuff, and come home at night, put the loader back on it, or whatever you want to put back on it, and go feed cattle again. They called it a Farmall because it'll do any job that you would need on the farm without having to have another machine for it.
Although it may have seemed like a wave of the future, there were still many producers that were very reluctant to take a step away from the life they had known with their horses and move into the machinery world.
Well, and most farmers didn't want to go towards it because of the technicality. They thought, oh God, I got to have a tractor. That's going to make too much work. I'm already accustomed to the horses, and I've already got the horse equipment. To where International pushed that this tractor was able to, you could use your horse equipment on it, because it's designed to pull the horse equipment. So it wasn't a big change. That's why they called it the Farmall. That's why they made it to where it was more farmer friendly, so to speak. It was a real eye catcher instead of these big, massive, when you thought of a tractor back in 1930s, 1920s even, you thought of some of these big, massive prairie tractors is what they would be, or a steam engine, traction engine. They didn't really know of the individual farmer having a tractor. Yes, most guys did. Yes, most guys adapted. I mean, and it all depended on where you were located in, where you were and where your dealer was. I mean, so that would segregate whether you had International, John Deere, Minneapolis, whatever else. That's what decided, what tractor was prominent or was dominant in that area of your countryside.
Purchasing that one piece of equipment at that time may not have seemed like it would have changed the world, but little did they know it would change their way of life.
You look at it, the advancedness from this is almost like you being the farmer in 1936 and looking at this compared to your horses. I mean, it's like us now looking at these newer John Deeres or Internationals coming out. The advancements, you're going, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. With this there was a lot of stuff to take care of and maintain and check and, keep an eye on. But this tractor, when they sold it, was your average 180-acre farmer tractor. This was the 160-acre farmer tractor that would be middle of the road. So they were made PTO at about 20 horse, and then drawbar was about 17, 18. They weren't the biggest, but at the time that was a big tractor. I mean, they had one model bigger, which was the F30, and that was right around 25 to 30 horse, give or take, depending on where you were, depending on how many plow or where your ground was, what your ground type was. This was noted for carrying a 2-row cultivator. They also had a 1-row mounted corn picker on it, and they had, I believe it was a front-mounted corn planter, as well as they ran an F11 farmhand loader on it at one time as well.
There were certain aspects of this new machinery that very quickly developed a reputation, which put a label on just exactly who got to use this newfangled machinery.
Starting it, great-grandpa wouldn't let anybody else start it, unless they were to pull start it with a chain. With the crank, with them being known to break arms, if you're not experienced, you pretty much can either get yourself run over by leaving it in gear, or if it backfires, it'll break your arm or more.
I love stories like that about how they use the old and the heritage and the stories and the old machinery, physically looking at things that built their family farm, and they can use that as a foundation to build their future on. I love stories like that. Thanks for joining us here at Today's Farm Life, and be sure and subscribe to our page. Follow us on todaysfarmlife.com. I'm Doug Cunningham. I hope we've inspired you to do something good and feel good about what you do, because what you do is important. We'll see you next time.